Hello, my name is Courtney Harris, and I will be presenting on religion in public schools and their current trends. Thank you so much for giving me the time to present tonight. The purpose of this presentation is to update the Millard Public Schools Board of Education on principles related to the religion in public schools as the board revisits and modifies current board policies associated with religion. To get us started, I wanted to focus on the goal of the district according to the policies. The goal of the district is to provide all students who are enrolled in the district with a safe and equitable learning environment in order to take full advantage of the district's educational opportunities. For this presentation, I utilized two resources. The first resource is Religion in Public Schools by the Pew Research Center, and then Guidance on Constitutionally Protected Prayer and Religious Expression in Public Elementary and Secondary Schools by the U.S. Department of Education. Both of these articles are linked if you would like to review them at a later date. The relationship between religion and government in the United States is governed by the First Amendment of the Constitution. The First Amendment protects freedom of speech, the press, assembly, and the right to petition the government. Within the First Amendment, there are two religion clauses. First is the Establishment Clause. This prevents the government from establishing an official religion and prohibits the government speech endorsing religion. Next, we have Free Speech and Free Exercise Clause, which protects the private religious speech and protects the free exercise of religion. When it comes to religion in school, we're going to first look at the rights of students, parents, and school employees. When students are acting as on their own, they have the right to engage in religious activities and discussions as they do to engage in non-religious activities. Students may offer a prayer or blessing on school grounds for religious purposes to the same extent as other students who wish to express their personal views or assemble with others. Students may not engage in religious harassment of others or force others to participate in the religion. Schools may neither favor nor disfavor students or groups on the basis of their religious identities. When it comes to the rights of the parents, parents have the right to object to certain school practices. Parents can seek permission for their students to opt out of offending lessons, classes, or practices. Many school districts have recognized the force of parents' religious or moral concern on certain topics in schools, and they have voluntarily provided opt-out programs for those classes. When it comes to the right of employees, public school employees retain their right to free exercise of religion. However, there are constraints by the Establishment Clause when they are acting as representatives of a public school. Biggest thing to understand for this one is if it's on personal time or school time. School is allowed in schools during certain time. So during non-instructional time, students may pray when not engaged in school instruction. These are subject to the same rules designed to prevent material disruption that are applied to privately initiated expressive activities. When it comes to instructional time, schools have the discretion to dismiss students to off-premises religious institutions, provided that the schools do not encourage or discourage or penalize students for attending or not attending. Students may organize prayer groups, religious clubs, and see you at the polls gatherings before school to the same extent that students are permitted to organize other non-curricular student activity groups. When school employees are acting in their official capacity as representatives of the state, teachers, school administrators, and other school employees are prohibited by the First Amendment from encouraging or discouraging prayer and from actively participating in such activity with students. As I mentioned on the last slide, it kind of comes down to school time versus personal time. So if a teacher is teaching, they cannot encourage or discourage prayer. However, during their own personal time, such as lunch, they are able to participate in prayer privately. Students can express their beliefs about religion in homework, artwork, and other assignments free from discrimination based on the religious perspective of their submission. When an assignment is submitted with religious beliefs, this assignment must be graded the same as if it were not. Moments of silence. If a school has a moment of silence or other quiet periods during the day, students are free to pray silently or not to pray during these periods of time. Assemblies and non-curricular events. Student speakers are selected on the basis of content-neutral criteria and retain primary control over the content of their expression. That expression is not associated to the school and therefore may not be restricted because of its religious or anti-religious content and may include prayer. When it comes to prayer at graduation, school officials may not mandate or organize prayer at graduation or select speakers for such events in a manner that favors religious speech, such as prayer. When it comes to religious expression at school, students can distribute religious material the same as non-religious material. Public schools may not provide religious instruction, but they may teach about religion. So they may teach about the history, they may teach about how it influences art and literature, and teach about certain holidays, but they may not observe those holidays or promote them as religious holidays. Public schools may not signal out attire in general or of a particular religion for restriction or regulation. And religious excusals. Schools must allow students to be excused for religious reasons the same as non-religious reasons with parent consent. Here are my references for those slides. When it comes to the COL correlation, the first step I took to demonstrate it was evaluating and reflecting on the role-play situation that was presented. When evaluating the situation, I focused on the information presented and what was required from me. Then I reflected on my own feelings and biases about the situation and figured out a way to present the information in a factual manner. To help me gain a better understanding of the information, I reviewed court cases that helped create laws and policies. From there, I communicated with the Board of Education about the current policies, laws in place to protect students, parents, and staff. Through the reading, I did notice that the laws and policies can change often, so in the future, I will need to make sure I'm staying up to date on current, new, and changing policies. This assignment greatly deepened my understanding about the rights and policies that are in place relating to religion in school. Before this assignment, I knew there were policies in place, but I did not know the details of how they are protected the rights of others. In my classroom in the past, I would avoid the topic of religion and would get nervous if students or others brought it up. With the information from this assignment, I feel more confident and comfortable handling the topic of religion if it were discussed in my classroom. As a future school leader, this assignment gave me a better understanding about religion in schools and how to protect the rights of students, parents, and staff. This assignment also provided me with the potential situation I might encounter as a school leader. With the potential situation, I was able to practice evaluating the situation and presenting information needed without bias. When needing to make decisions as a future school leader, I will use the information from this assignment to find ways to accommodate students, parents, and staff to fit their religious needs, just as I would to fit any other needs they may have. For instance, finding a place for students to pray throughout the day. Another way this assignment will influence decisions I will make is by providing me knowledge and skills on how to advocate for the community members of the school. Advocating for the community members of the school, including staff, can help create a welcoming environment to help Millard School District achieve their goal.